Hey.
First off, great story you had here, and you're a pretty cool guy. But
Thanks, man.
he said during the introduction that you're also a very active environmentalist. Exactly what do you do to help the Earth?
So I worked with an organization called Sea Shepherd and did a lot of awareness work with them when I was younger. If you've ever seen the show on Animal Planet Whale Wars, they do some really cool stuff, interfering in illegal fishing operations around the world. And that was a big thing for me for a long time. A lot of awareness stuff. These days it takes a political form. Around the midterms, I was very politically active and using my social media platform and going to protests and trying to spark change that way. And that's my main form of change, because there are a lot of young people that do look to me, and just getting people to, regardless of your stance, get involved and be active in that way, I think is really, really important, and it's the number one way to affect change. And I think we have an apathy problem in this country with people who just can't be bothered, and I think that has to be stopped. So that's what I've been working on from a political and an environmental stance, because right now I think they're hand in hand.
That's deep. Thank you.
Thank you,
Good
Buzz.
question. Thank you.
Who's next? Go to the microphone. I'll tell you what. Come on up here. Come on up here. All right. Hey, what's your
special
name?
treatment? Come right to the front.
Alan Lincoln.
Okay, what do you got for us?
So how long have you been doing the voice?
The voice of Steven?
Yeah.
Let's see. It'd be 7 years now, so exactly 1/3 of my life.
Wow.
Yeah. If we're reducing it to fractions.
I think I've been watching Steven Universe about for 3 or 2 years, and when I do follow Rebecca Sugar on Instagram and stuff, and it does inspire me sometimes, because it does, like, it shows different gems and stuff, how their bodies look, and it helps me through rough times too.
Let it be said to everyone in this room that if you are an artist of any kind, there is no better role model than Rebecca Sugar, and I will say that for years to come.
Yeah. I do draw a lot of stuff about it. I draw fusions and new gems and stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah, you brought some art by earlier, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
At the booth. It was really good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now keep it up. Like, everybody that's inspired by this show, like, we as artists, we're all inspired by another show, another thing, and you guys who do fan art of our show, you're carrying the torch and can create something to inspire somebody else. And that it's like a generation-line thing that I think is beautiful to watch. And conventions are like an amazing breeding ground for that kind of thing.
Yeah. My Instagram thing is BlakeGirl7, so...
Blake Laurel 7?
Yeah, BlakeGirl7.
Got you. Like Laurel, like Laurel?
Yeah, Blade Girl, like 07.
Oh, okay, girl. Cool.
All right, that's where you are. All right, hold on. There's one for you, and there's one for the two folks over there that you've been driving crazy. Okay, hold on. All right, thank you much. Round of applause for your lady.
You
Her
won a
artwork.
fantastic prize.
All right. The
Thank you.
microphone's right there. It's right there. Yeah, there you go. It's okay. Okay,
hello. Okay.
Hi. What's your name?
Caitlin.
Hi, Caitlin. What you got for us?
I'm just curious. Who's your favorite diamond in Steven Universe and why?
White.
White?
For reasons.
Oh, snap. Okay.
What's that? Maybe. Yeah, no, she's my favorite. Her character designs, when I first saw them, like, even when they were not even completely finished yet, I mean, my jaw, like, went through the floor to China. And there's a lot more reasons in upcoming episodes that are coming out next month.
Reasons we cannot talk about.
They did announce the new episodes are coming out next month, right? That is a thing? Okay. I've been telling people that. I'm like, that is public, right? I was surprised because this is the first time I found out the episodes were coming out before they actually came out. Normally I find out on Twitter, like, the day after.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Good question. Hello again.
Hi. What's your name?
How'd those Polaroids turn out?
They turned out really good.
Nice. The finger guns one, was that?
I think the diamond one was the best.
Okay. Well, I tried.
What I want to know is, obviously, when you've played a lot of parts and stuff, you keep a little bit of your character with you. How has Steven influenced who you are today?
Steven, like, I see Steven as like a positive influence on me because I think he sees the world in a more enlightened way than I do. I've always been like a natural pessimist, And I think like having Steven around has helped me combat that in some ways. I'm a bit too nihilist for my own good sometimes, and Steven is like whatever the opposite of that is. He's very positive in his outlook, so I think that's been helpful.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi, what's your name?
I'm Guinevere. My question was like, what's your favorite thing about acting as like Steven?
Working with the cast they're family now, and Rebecca and the crew, and I mean we have a really good rhythm. I feel, and there's no studio environment or a setting where I feel like more at ease than going into record for Steven these days, just because it's familiar and it works, and it just clicks like that, and I love that flow and the relationships I have with the people I work with.
Thank you. I love your hair, by
Thank
the
you.
way.
Thank you. I love yours. We match.
Hello.
Hello, my name is Jay, and just like you, I have always been a very crazy theater kid.
I can relate.
So I was wondering, because I've also done both voice acting and stage acting, which do you prefer, doing it live on stage or in the studio at the mic?
It really depends on like what particular production I'm doing. There's some voiceover gigs like Steven that are like incredibly artistically fulfilling and awesome to work on, and I'm definitely gonna choose that over like, any old production of a musical. I don't like to dance on stage, but like on the other hand, there's some voiceover gigs that are like promo, like for commercials and stuff that are very like by the books, like we're just here to get it done and get out of here. Versus some plays I've done, like straight plays that are like incredibly dramatic, dark graphic stories that I've worked on with my theater company, and it really just depends on the production entirely. If it's red meat for an actor, then I'm there. That's the best stuff to work on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, boss.
Yo.
Dig the denim jacket. My name
Thank
is
you.
Jeffrey. I have a question with you involving voice acting.
Okay.
So we kind of went over it a bit earlier when they were talking about like taking like an optimistic element and stuff like that.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's adjustable.
okay. So my question was like you were talking about like how you take like this optimistic part of you and stuff like that. Are there like certain characters or people in your life that you try to invoke in this character, or is this just a part of you that sort of comes out when you voice act as Steven?
Steven, I wouldn't say there was any particular reference for. I think there were like certain elements of my own personality that got injected into him, which I think every actor does with every character to some degree, but I definitely leaned on that heavily. And I think back when I like first started playing Steven, I was very much Steven in real life. And as I've grown, I think we sort of have this dichotomy now where we exist together on certain planes and on others we differ. But when I started, it was very much an extension of my own personality in a lot of ways, not fully, but to the point where you could definitely see the influence. And now it's a lot more of like a departure from my normal personality, but because I've been doing it for so long, it's established there and I can access it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey,
Hi.
man. Hey, what's your name?
Sorry. My name's Tim, and I have like a little bit of theory that's gone in my head for some time that I hope that you're okay with to hear about it.
Sure.
Okay, since now that Steven and the Gems and Connie is in like Homeworld and stuff, I have like a thought that what would happen if like White Diamond captured Connie while Steven and the Gems are left Homeworld by a larger ship and incinerate and some reason that Steven leave Connie behind in Homeworld. What is your reaction on that?
That would be the worst day of my life.
That would be so sad. Yeah, Connie would have a hard time surviving on Homeworld because they don't exactly have a lot of food lying around or other practical things. That would be really
Yeah,
dire.
I thought so too. Thank you.
Hopefully that doesn't happen in those episodes coming up in December.
Hello.
Security, get that man. He has the secret plans.
Hey there.
Hey,
All right, so what's your opinion on Steven and Connie? Do you ship the two?
he's got the secret plans too.
Close the doors. No one gets out of here.
Bam, bam, bam. Red alert. Yeah, you know what? I totally ship it. Not right now, but like I see it happening down the line. I support it. It's up to Rebecca if that's actually in mind, but at the very least, it's a beautiful friendship, and that's always a good foundation for that sort of thing.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
My name's Jessie. In voice acting, what do you do differently to prepare for Steven versus your other characters?
I tend to do a lot more like vocal warm-ups and stuff because the voice, it's way up there, and I start at 9 in the morning. So other characters are closer to my natural voice, or I have some in like my lower register. Like my character for Dark and Dicey, our Dungeons and Dragons show, it's like way down here. It's got the gravel to it, and I can go in after I could eat a bag of nails, and I'd be fine doing that voice. That's on the physical level, and emotionally, like for Steven, like I said, it's like the process is so like nailed down now. I don't even have to like look at the record material before I go. I just get there, like it's put in front of me. Rebecca explains it, and we go. Other things, like if it's a new project, a new character, like I go through the material and like do some prep work and like really understand like what I'm getting into, because oftentimes months pass between the audition and the material, and there's all sorts of new stuff and curveballs thrown at you. So I'd say that's the main difference preparation wise.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone back there have a tissue by chance? Anyone backstage? Yeah.
Keep talking. I'll sell.
Thanks, Maddie.
Howdy.
I got them allergies acting up.
You're obviously a very musical person, and you love music, and
No, I can't stand it.
you said right. You said that you wanted to spend some time behind a
thank you.
record music store or something like that.
Thank you, dear.
So my question is, what's on your playlist right now? Who are you listening to?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. All right, let's open up Spotify. Hang on.
You're the hero.
Tissue's
Okay.
gonna have to wait a sec. Tame Impala has been on repeat lately. All 3 records. New 21 Pilots.
You give us
is
tissue,
very
we give
good.
you candy.
A lot of Grimes. Anybody listen to Grimes? She just dropped a new single that's it's weird, dude. It's like if Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails was like an anime waifu. It's very strange. Brockhampton, if anybody's into hip hop, Brockhampton's really good. Blonde by Frank Ocean's always on there. Middle era Beatles like Revolver, Rubber Soul, Sgt. Pepper's. OK Computer by Radiohead. Some DJ Shadow, like breakbeat hip hop, like 90s EDM. Yeah, that's like all the stuff in my recents. And then I put together a playlist that I'm experimenting with like a rootsier sound for my new stuff. So there's a bunch of weird stuff in there, like Queen and Childish Gambino's new stuff, and James Brown, Ty Segall, Eric Clapton, some classics, some new stuff.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. That's my favorite question.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right.
You can turn it
Hello.
upwards. It adjusts. There you go.
All right. We good?
Yes,
We
sir.
good. All right.
Hi, what's your name?
Gavin.
Hi, Gavin.
So you mentioned that you worked with Nate once to battle before. So how was it working with him and his group of friends?
Freaking awesome, dude. I mean, he's become a really dear friend over the past year. It kind of all happened at once. Like, he's like, hey, man, you want to be in this Dungeons and Dragons show? I'm like, sure. I've only played like 5 times. Let's do this. And then a couple weeks later, he's like, hey, you want to be in my music video? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. He's like, hey, you want to come on tour with me? And I'm like, what? Let me check my yeah, let's do it. So we've been doing all sorts of stuff. He's awesome, super talented. Tour was like one of the best experiences of my life, and Dark and Dicey has been amazing. So yeah, I have him to thank for a lot from 2018. A lot of the highlights.
Excellent. Happy holidays to you, sir.
Yeah, you too,
And
man.
to you, man. Thank you.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, boss.
Hey.
What's your name?
Name's Elliot.
Hey.
I was just wondering, preface, I love Steven Universe, by the way. I've loved it ever since high school, which I recently graduated. Anyway.
Hey, congratulations.
I was just wondering, do you have a favorite song that you did on SU?
Of my songs?
Or just, one of your songs.
It's a tie between both of you from Mr. Greg and the new one, Let's Only Think About Love from Reunited.
Ah, very good.
3.5 minutes long, new record. Took a long time, but very much worth it.
Cool. All right, well, thank you. Hope you have a good day.
Hey, thanks, man. You too.
Thank you.
Congrats on graduating.
Hello.
Hi. I'm Rebecca, and I was
Sugar?
No.
In disguise.
She has the secret codes.
She is the secret code.
Yeah, literally.
I was wondering, what was your favorite episode so far that you've voice acted in?
Steven and the Stevens is up there. That record was made me a nutcase in the best way. 'Cause, I mean, I'm having conversations with myself. I'm like playing 100 different Stevens, beating each other up at the end. Like, it's just a lot. Mr. Greg was cool because it was like breaking the 11-minute cartoon format into this beautiful musical. Bismuth was cool, bringing in a new character like that for the first time in a while and getting really deep into the lore. Some really cool ones that haven't come out yet. Storm in the Room was a really cool one. I got to record with Susan Egan for the first time as Rose. It's kind of a terrifying episode, but there's a lot of good stuff. Very sad, very sad. It's one of the saddest I think we've done.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey again.
Hi. That's loud. So you said like the staff's like your family, and I was wondering, what was been like your favorite episode to record with the staff? Like.
Ooh. I remember one in particular. I don't even remember what episode this was, but it's just a funny story. So Grace, who plays Connie, and I were in the studio, and there's some bit where Steven and Connie have like a mouthful of like watermelon or food or something, and they're like, "We're not talking like this." And normally we just simulate it, or we like put a finger like this, but it didn't have like the chubby bunny like kind of sound that Rebecca like really specifically wanted for this. So she had Matt Burnett, one of our writers, literally run to CVS and buy she's like, go buy the jumbo size marshmallows, and we're gonna actually play Chubby Bunny and stuff them in their cheeks, right? So we like move on, and then he comes back like 15 minutes later, like runs in the room. He's like, okay, I'm back, and he holds up the bag, and it must have been Halloween or something, because they had like novelty size jumbo marshmallows, so they weren't like this, they were like this. So we both just like take two, put them in our cheeks barely, and it apparently was exactly the sound that Rebecca needed, and that's how we like spent budget money on novelty size marshmallows. I'm assuming someone ate them upstairs afterwards, because that's where all the food goes. I don't even remember what episode that was, but it's a good memory.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey there. Oppa!
All right, I got a curveball for you. I don't know if you know about Gundam, but what Gundam do you think Steven would pilot?
I don't know anything about Gundam, but the one that was in Ready Player One was really cool.
That was the original Gundam.
What's that?
The original, in other words, the first Gundam.
Yeah. The classic one. I know what that one looks like. I'll choose that one.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't know more about it.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, what's up?
So, did you grow up watching Cartoon Network?
I did. Like, early 2000s Cartoon Network was like my jam.
Best Cartoon Network.
Yeah, that was a good era for sure. Codename Kids Next Door was my favorite. That was good stuff.
I guess that answers my question then.
What's that?
I guess that answers my question. I was going to ask what your favorite shows were.
That was one. Billy and Mandy, of course. I've been able to do some convention stuff with Richard Horvitz, actually, which has been really fun. Nostalgia trip for me. Dexter's, Samurai Jack, Powerpuff Girls. Oh, Courage. Courage I had to like take in small doses. That was a lot. But yeah, all those shows from that era I was totally into. I couldn't watch Cartoon Network at my house because Dad didn't want to get the cable package that had Cartoon Network, so I had to watch PBS Kids, which was good. Arthur is a great show. Clifford. But when I was at my grandparents' house, that was when I like put on the chain and became a baller because I had Cartoon Network access. And they were so cool. They hooked it up where they would like record episodes of Codename Kids Next Door for me on VHS tapes and then send them to my house like a bike messenger.
Get out.
Wait, what'd you say?
He says, what's a VHS?
What's a VHS? It's these like weird novelty things that people put vaporwave music on, right? I just bought a bootleg VHS at a music festival last month, and I was like, yeah, this is so cool. Like nobody's done this in like 30 years. Yeah, like I bought it. There was this like knockoff like. Has anyone ever listened to King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard? I just saw them at Desert Days last month, and I went crowd surfing, and like my phone fell out of my backpack. Like, all this crazy stuff happened, and I was so enchanted by their show that I found out they were selling like not the band, like people at I'm completely blanking. The audio tower, like where they have all the board. People that were working up there that had like backstage access, they were like secretly selling these like art tapes set to the music of King Gizzard, like behind the audio stand. Like, hey kid, like you want some VHS tapes? So I went over there. It was like
VHS.
It was $10 for this like really cool like red and like specially lined red and black VHS tape with this cool art on it. I was like, this is the best gift ever.
I'm not so impressed with the fact that you bought a VHS, or the fact that implies you have a working VCR.
I do, actually. Yeah. Kicking it old school. I got a record player, a VCR. I just need a cassette deck in my car, and I'm set.
Cool, thank you.
I was thinking about doing a limited run of cassettes for my album, actually, like just for me. Just to have, like, hand out on, like, a street corner in Hollywood, like, yo, bump my album. People be like, what the hell is this?
Excuse me, aren't you Zach? Yes, I am. Here, have a cassette.
Have a cassette.
And run.
Pusha T, the rapper, just dropped his album on cassette, actually. I was like, that's awesome. Like, let's bring this back. The audio quality's not anywhere close to vinyl. It's terrible, but it's a nostalgia trip. Sorry, you have a question.
Do you have any
I think the mic just was gravely injured when it was dropped on the ground. What did you say?
Do you have any advice for people who want to become a performer?
Any advice for people that want to what?
Be a performer.
Be a performer. Yeah, I mean, the main thing, like for specifically voice acting, the biggest tip I give is like play characters, not voices. It's more than just performing. Like you have to be thinking the thoughts and feeling it on the inside if it's gonna portray realistically and genuinely on the outside. But as long as you're truly believing the things that the character's believing and tricking yourself into it, which is an impossible thing. Like it takes years to really do that. But that's like you find the joy of it when you like trick yourself into that and you know you're in that and you like become this different person. It's a wonderful phenomenon. And don't give up at first rejection or second or 70th because it happens a lot. That's just the nature of the business. Everybody wants to do it, and it's all about moving past that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Best of luck. Hey there.
So I've actually never seen Steven Universe.
Leave!
No, that's cool.
I'm here because of my friend, and the only things I really know about it are that you're in it and that Patti LuPone was in it.
That's true, yes.
So
Yellow
I
Diamond.
feel like the best person to ask. Give me a rundown. Steven Universe for Dummies. Should I watch it?
All right. Let's see.
We only have 5 minutes.
Oh, no.
There's a way to compress this. So there's these rock people, right? And they're all sorts of pretty colors, and they got these wacky personalities. And you find out, like not that far into the show, that they're actually from space, and they have a dark history, and they all emotionally wounded each other at some point. And they're trying to figure out how to move past that while also saving the world and singing songs about it.
My kind of thing. Thanks.
See? Another DVD sold.
Right.
I'm out here pushing it.
I just kind of, your opinion on you think.
Sorry, the mic's cutting out. What'd you say?
I kind of wanted your opinion on how do you think the music in Steven Universe has influenced the show?
I mean, it's like a chicken and egg problem because the music is so central to the show that it's like they're one and the same. I think that the music has definitely evolved over time. You go back and listen to like the original theme song or Giant Woman, like they were these like little ditties, and they became these like incredibly like cinematic, epic numbers. And I think that reflects the arc of the show as well. I don't know if that was necessary to tell the gravity of the story as it was becoming, higher and higher stakes, or if, the show was, going that way because the music was getting more intense. I would say it's probably the former. It was out of necessity. The music had to, tell these increasingly grand stories, and the sound definitely evolved in that way.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Don't want this thing to go on me.
Yeah, hold on tight.
So most of the questions I've heard have been about Steven Universe, but my question is about one of the lesser-known roles you might have played, Billy Batson from some of the Justice League cartoons.
Yeah.
So my question is, if you could play any superhero, Marvel or DC or third party, who would you be?
Arm fall off boy.
I actually know who that is.
He's fantastic.
So do I.
What is it right? His right or his left arm is capable of falling off, and he can pick it up, and that's what he does.
Don't forget, he brags he beats people up with it.
Oh,
yeah.
well, of course. Yeah, that's a given. But the actual supernatural part of it is he could drop it. Picking up your own arm is not that big of an achievement. I think there's some really interesting moral quandaries with him that would be fun to play. No, really. Probably somebody in the X-Men universe. That was my original favorite superhero stuff. Cyclops is cool. You know what? Like some of the people from the original cartoon, I couldn't play Jubilee. Like I'm the complete opposite of Jubilee, but she was my favorite coming up. So someone with her powers maybe would be really cool.
I can see you being as like Iceman. You seem like you have that personality.
Being what?
Iceman, ice powers.
Oh, totally, actually. Yeah. Okay, I'll go with that. He's like a core X-Men team member. As long as I'm like in there, on the missions.
Thank you.
Right up. Thank you.
Hello again.
Hi again. Oh, God. I do have a Steven question.
Okay.
And I remember you talking about how Steven's super optimistic and really happy, and we love him for that. But do you think he would be different if he knew everything before it all started, like about Rose and the diamonds?
I think there is a pure-heartedness to Steven that would not have completely gone away, but I think if he was just, like, blindsided with all that information at once, it probably would have led him to be a little more skeptical of the world around him and hindered his development as a person. It's probably for the best that the Gems kept certain things from him, as much as it upset him at the time. I understand what they were trying to do, It's a good question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Soldier.
Hi. Howdy. You have a lot of talents and voices and stuff like that. Do you think you'd ever make your own show or anything?
I have actually. Never saw the light of day because lawyers got involved. But I was working on a sketch series called The Zach Callison Show, where I was singing and dancing and making a fool out of myself and wearing wigs and dresses and heels. It's crazy. There's all these different sketches. I had a do-rag on at one point. It's still going to happen at some point. It might take 10 years, but it's going to happen. I still really believe in the idea of it. It was more than just like a sketch comedy show. It was a sort of like a meta commentary on like the war between artists and money men. And I was like caught in the middle of it as this characterized version of Zach Callison. And we shot like 17 digital shorts for it, and then things happened. And it'll be revealed in my tell-all book in 20 years. But yes, I have attempted it before, and I will be finishing it eventually.
One of these days we'll see you.
One of these days.
We have just a few minutes left, so we are going to go to a lightning round of questions. All right, this is how this works. Hey, what's your name? What's your question?
I am Johnny. In the show, you have a lot of silly idioms and sort of catchphrases. How many of those are yours, and how many are scripted?
Almost all of them are scripted. There have been a couple of things where I've added things to lines that aren't in there. I can't think of any in particular, but most of the time it's scripted.
Boom, thank you. Next, what's your name? What's your question?
My name is Charlie, and I'm wondering, what do you think is like the saddest moment throughout the entire show?
Saddest moment in the entire show? Storm in the Room was pretty bad. I'm missing a million right now. Oh, It's Over, isn't it? That's heartbreaking. That's got to take it, I think.
Boom, what's your name? What's your question?
Hey, I'm Bobby. What's your favorite 21 Pilots song?
Ooh, all time, Taxi Cab. Of the new stuff, Leave the City. Leave the City has been like hitting me hard because it's like about this phase of my life and it's too real. But every song is amazing. They're like top 3 for me.
Boom. What's your name? What's your question?
Hi, I'm Rachel. How was your experience with working in Legend of Korra?
Sorry, I didn't catch all that.
What was your experience in getting into Legend of Korra?
It was pretty straightforward with the audition process and stuff. And then I got in and I was doing Young Tarlock for the second time I went in. I was like, oh man, I just walked into the like the climax of the first season, like not knowing anything about what's going on. And there's like people are bloodbending and like I'm like screaming out in pain. Like my brother's like fighting me, like what's going on? All was revealed later, but it was definitely like an intense experience at first.
Boom. What's your name? What's your question?
My name is also Rachel. I'm sure you've heard of alternate universes. What do you think Steven would be like if he was the son of White Diamond?
I caught like 30% of that. I'm sorry.
Alternate universes.
What do you think Steven Universe would be like if he was the son of White Diamond?
Really.
Boom. Next question.
Really, really savage.
What's your name? What's your question?
My name's John. You recognize my cosplay. Do you game?
Yes, I am a recovering gaming addict. I'm actually recovering. What am I saying? I brought my PS4 with me, and I'm playing Red Dead all night tonight. Like, let's be real here.
What's your name? What's your question?
Jay, and I was wondering, what do you think is one of the most valuable lessons taught in the show of Steven Universe?
Great way to end it. Individuality and like the fact that you can be anyone you want to be, and look however you want to look, and that's okay. I think that's really important. Great way to end the
Zach Callison, what social media outlets can we follow you on if we don't already?
Just add Zach Callison on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Friendster, MySpace. Yeah, no, the main ones. And then I have a website, zachcallison.com. Please check out my music if you're so inclined. That is like near and dear to my heart. I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, all that, just as my name.
Zach Callison.